Texas is reportedly sending public school students home with DNA kits designed to help parents identify their children, quote, in case of an emergency. According to Today, the Texas state legislature passed a Senate bill in 2021 requiring the Texas Education Agency to, quote, provide identification kits to school districts and open enrollment charter schools for distribution to the parent or legal custodian of certain students, end quote. After the mass shooting at Robby Elementary in Uvalde, Texas, in May of this year, Today says the kits are making parents feel even more anxious about sending their children to school. Yeah, that's insane.
This is
completely
wild.
Insane. And let's look. They're horrific. They're horrible. They consume because they're so hard to contemplate. But mass shootings in schools are not actually all that common. They are certainly not common enough to like as routine practice have something like this, or have the other thing is mass shooter drills, which schools do now, are more frightening and terrifying and intimidating for the school. Every now and then they don't tell the kids that it is a drill. It's not necessary at all. They're statistically so unlikely.
So I don't know that I agree about the mass shooter drill aspect of it, because we did have that incident. Remember, just in Uvalde, the kids had been trained, for instance, not to open the door when someone says, "Hi, I'm a cop, and you can come in," and they didn't open the door, and it really was a cop. And it seemed to me like that was one of those moments where, like, I'm glad that they had that savvy. Eventually, the kids in that room were able to be, properly notified. But it was the cop who didn't actually have the training to know what they were supposed to do in that situation, not the kids. And if that is going to keep happening, if cops are going to continue to be as ill prepared as they were in Uvalde, I want the kids to know as much as possible. But I take your broader point about, to have as a routine measure people taking DNA samples of children with the express purpose to identify their remains.
Seems
too morbid.
I've seen clear backpacks being used, which that's a assault on student autonomy and privacy.
So how long is it going to take to do the DNA sample?
I don't even understand.
What are they imagining? I mean, look, we have these horrifying stories out of Uvalde where parents, that speech that Matthew McConaughey gave with the little girl's green Converse with, like, I think the star or the heart drawn on the toe. That was the way that they identified it. And it's heartbreaking, but it does also seem to me that those kinds of things, clothing, backpacks, etc., are going to identify a child, God forbid, they're killed in one of these tragedies, so much quicker than the idea of, like, taking a blood sample and rushing it off to a lab.
They are, again, very truly horrible to contemplate. They are identified in the hospital. It's not, identifying has not been an issue.
So what do you think is driving this?
Idiots making policy decisions. People making knee-jerk. I mean, this is often in knee-jerk policy laws passing in response to some tragedy is a tale as old as time.
Sure.
Often, the policy often not presenting some
poorly tailored to
very poorly tailored to an event that is not likely to be repeated. I mean, that will happen again. But
I don't know about that. I think that some things are so horrific that even if they're fairly infrequent, it's worth preparing and trying to guard against them, but the intervention should be well tailored to the actual problem at hand. Now, reactions to this have been strong on the internet. The ACLU tweeted, asking children for their DNA compromises not just their own genetic privacy, but the privacy of their family as well. Mass collection of our children's DNA is the wrong approach to keeping them safe. President of the American Federation of Teachers, Randy Weingarten, said, we shouldn't be passing out DNA kits to identify children after a school shooting. We should be working to ban the assault weapons used in these shootings and stop the unnecessary deaths of our kids. And founder of Moms Demand, a grassroots organization working to address gun violence in America, Shannon Watts, wrote, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is choosing to send DNA kits to schools that parents can use to identify their children's bodies after they've been murdered, rather than pass gun safety laws to proactively protect their lives. Vote at Beto O'Rourke, hashtag. Yeah. So I think points are being made here. The genetic privacy point in particular is one that was on my mind.
Yeah.
This is the reason I haven't done the 24andMe, whatever it is, 23andMe, or any of those kinds of things.
Despite your curiosity, obviously, about your...
I'm curious. I'd love to know a lot more. A lot of Black Americans, for obvious reasons, are very interested to know a lot more about our ancestry, since we didn't have the opportunity to pass those things down due to slavery. But I don't because I'm very concerned about what they're going to do with these. We live in a surveillance state. We talk about Amazon cameras. We talk about the game show based on Amazon cameras. We talk about putting chips in hands just so that we can have convenience at the grocery store. And now they want to literally collect our children's DNA. I don't see how that's not going to a dystopian place.
Yeah, I haven't done it either. This Italian American so wants to know more about his ancestry, but then I'm going to be like swamped with pasta advertisements or something. It's going to be all over social media, etc. And I do like all the stereotypical Italian foods. It is my absolute basic palate. Not a very adventurous eater.
All right, we'll continue talking about this over at Sabaro's after the show.
Yes, sweet.
But we'll have more Rising for you right after this.